This is Chris from Atlantic Outboard. I'm going to do a digital delivery of your new Pursuit DC235. Now, if you're trailering this boat, the first thing you're going to want to do before you put it in the water is make sure that your drain plug is installed. Okay. After your drain plug's installed, you're at the boat ramp. The next thing you're going to want to do is hop in the boat, turn your battery switch on, which I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then you could tilt your motor down to prepare it for to get it in the water. Now, if you're trailering it, most of the time you're going to use the trailer lock option on the motor. Make sure that trailer lock is flipped up so it'll allow you to tilt that motor down. Now let's go inside the boat and take a look. Once the boat's in the water and you get on the boat, the first thing you want to do is make sure your battery switch is on. So you go into this cabinet here and you simply turn that battery switch on. Okay, you can see it's pretty basic on. You'll hear your VHF do the beeping sound. It's requesting what's called an MMSI number. Your towboat or sea tow service will provide that number. Once you input that number in it, you won't hear that beeping anymore. But let's take a closer look at this battery panel here. So you simply have off position at 12 o'clock. At 3 o'clock you have the on. Now if your batteries are ever low, you leave something on overnight, you can turn to combined batteries. Now it'll take all the battery juice available just to get the motor started. Once the motor's started, it will maintain and charge those batteries. Now you have a main breaker reset for your windlass here, your electronics main switch, that needs to be on, and your Helm main switch. Now all these are just reset buttons. If you ever lose power to a bilge pump, the first thing you want to check is make sure that that reset breaker is not tripped. Now let's go up to the helm. After your battery switch is on, you want to make sure you put your safety lanyard kill switch on. Now this boat will not start without that safety lanyard engaged. The motor will crank and you'll get an error code. You have to make sure that safety lanyard is installed. After you install that, you can turn your key, start your motor up, let it warm up while you're getting the rest of your stuff ready. Let's take a look at what this dash has. So you have a horn, pretty self-explanatory. Your navigation lights, now that'll be for running at night. You have cockpit lights that'll illuminate the cockpit area. You have overhead lights. These are red, blue, or white. Now, a lot of times they'll become out of sync to where you'll have one red, one blue. Now, to reset that, you simply hold the switch down and it'll reset those lights so they're all in sync with each other. You have spreader lights in the hardtop facing aft. That's how you turn those on with a spreader light switch. You have a mid-level lighting. You have courtesy lights, but then you have additional mid-level lighting up front. You have underwater lights. Now, underwater lights is an option for this boat. Even if you don't get the underwater light option, you will still have an underwater light switch. Now, these are generic panels, so you may not have that option, but the switch will still be present. You have a power steering switch. Same scenario. If you didn't get the power steering option, you will still have a switch. If you do have the power steering option, you can always just leave that switch on. You have a blank accessory switch, 2 of them here. If you ever add components down the road, you would have a switch to connect those two. Your live well, self-explanatory. You catch a fish, throw it in the live well, you just flip that switch, it's going to turn that pump on. You have a washdown switch. Now that's going to be for your saltwater washdown. If you catch a fish, there's scales or blood on the boat, you flip that switch and that'll pressurize the saltwater pump. Freshwater switch, this boat has the freshwater holding tank. You would turn that on to use any of the freshwater systems. And then your aft bilge. Now all the boats we sell are hardwired directly to the battery. The bilge pump would be hardwired in. So even if your battery switch is off, your bilge pump will still be operable. If you get water in the bilge, the float switch will kick on and pump the water out. Now if you're washing the boat and you manually want to turn that pump on, that's what that switch will do. It'll backlight, illuminate, so you know it's on. You definitely don't want to leave it on and forget about it. You will burn out the pump. Over here you have your VHF and the speaker to control the sound. You have a fire extinguisher, and with this shifter you do have a trigger to engage it into gear. If you push it forward, the boat will put in gear, start traveling forward. It'll lock into neutral, and then you pull it backwards, the boat will go in reverse. Now this is a fly-by-wire digital motor, very smooth shifting. Your helm has the tilt option. You just simply push that button in and you can articulate the helm area. This is your Yamaha gauge. It'll give you all your fuel burn, fuel flow, fuel capacity, battery, RPM, etc. Everything for the motor. This is your GPS. It does have its own power button down here, which I just powered it off. Here's your trim tabs. They have backlit indicator, so it'll show what position those trim tabs are in. If you have a heavier person on one side, you could push down the trim tab on the other side to counteract that. Now, your stereo with Bluetooth, you could sync your phone, your smartphone with the stereo. Very simple to do. If you're having any problems with that, I always recommend just go online on YouTube and they'll probably have a very quick walkthrough of the Bluetooth connection. At the helm seat, you have flip up bolster, flip up armrests, and that's it for your helm area. Inside the head compartment is very simple, easy to keep clean. So you do have a freshwater sink with a freshwater faucet. Again, you would need to have your freshwater pump engaged on the dash to pressurize that system. Now you have your toilet here, or your head itself. There's a switch on the side here to add water to it, and then the handle itself to flush. It's a pressurized handle, so you literally just pump it once or twice and it flushes your toilet. You do want to have your freshwater switch on to service that sink and the toilet. There is a drain in the floor. If you need to rinse this out, it will drain. You have your toilet paper holder here. You do want to use marine grade toilet paper so you don't have any clog issues. And then your main water fill is actually located on the dash in here. So you would take your garden hose, stick it in the fill, and it would fill up your freshwater holding tank. In the machinery space or bilge of your DC235, you're going to have your pumps and batteries. So I want to show you what components are, what they do, and especially where your through-hull valves are. Any boat owner should know where the through-hull valves are on their boat. Now these valves have seacocks or shut-off ball valves, so you can isolate any water from servicing those pumps. In an emergency situation, if the boat's taking on water and you don't know where it's coming from, the first thing you want to do is isolate those through-hulls. Now, this is a through-hull here for a drain. It's a green handle, and then you have another handle over here for this other drain. There's also a handle attached to this pump, which is currently closed, and you just open or close it there. You have dual batteries set up. You can see the support here for your ski tow that this boat has. This whole gutter system has drainage to it. I'll show you some other access in 1 second. On the back of your Pursuit DC235, you have your waste pump out. Now you would use a deck key to open that up. At most marinas or fuel docks, they'll have a waste pump out service. They would come in and be able to empty the head compartment with that. Under this lid is your live well. You could throw your bait in there. You catch a fluke or a flounder, throw that in there. You just flip the switch, it'll pump that salt water in there and keep that fish alive. This boat is equipped with the ski tow option. To deploy this, you just pull that back, the ski tow pylon will come up, and to push it back in, you pull this back and it'll lock into place. You can see the snaps across the transom. This boat is equipped with the aft cover, so it'll secure up here and it'll come over this whole cockpit and it'll snap into place here. Now, in your engine well here, you'll see these inspection plates. Those are more for service, but it's a good way to access your bilge pump. If you ever have debris hanging up your bilge pump, you simply unscrew those. You could spray the hose in to clear that clog. The beautiful wraparound transom area gives you more swim access. Let's take a look on the bow of the boat. In the bow of your Pursuit DC235, you have storage under each seat. You have storage under the gunnels here, your JL audio speakers, stainless grab handles. You have snaps all the way around. This will be for the Sombrella bow cover that comes with the boat. You have a power supply for your charger, pull up cleats, and then I want to show you the anchor locker. First thing you want to do if you're going to deploy their anchor is take off your safety lanyard. You have the ability to control the anchor from a remote here or at the dash to raise and lower it. Always make sure you take off your safety lanyard before lowering it and keep your fingers clear. You have port and starboard navigation lights, pull-up cleats. There is a filler that can fill in this entire area, and that is located in the compartment behind the dash. Once you put the mounting leg for the filler in here, it can be used as a table or the bow filler cushion. In the cockpit of your Pursuit DC235, in the back here you have a saltwater washdown. You would unscrew that, screw in your hose, flip the switch on the dash, and it would pressurize that system. Under this is a recliner style seat, cup holders, grab handle. Over here is your fuel fill. You would simply unscrew this, stick your fuel nozzle in there, and be able to fuel your boat. Over on the starboard side, you have a freshwater sink. You have a cooler storage compartment, so you could throw all your drinks, a bag of ice on that, just plug the hole, and you'd be able to have your drinks there. This is a friction hinge to keep that open. Moving forward, you have your JL subwoofer. You have additional tackle storage behind this one, and your battery switch storage there. Great space to store your tackle. In the deck of this boat, you have tremendous amount of storage. So you could store, water skis, boat hooks, miscellaneous fenders, etc. Excellent place to store and keep things dry. There is a gutter track here, so any rainwater, soapy water would get into that track, would go directly overboard. Behind the dash, you have additional storage. This is where your filler cushion would be and the bow table. Okay, you also have access to get behind the dash.